Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Van Buren Variety Show. I am Bob Van Buren, your host. Very glad you're here. To all my regulars that tune in week after week, thank you. I really appreciate the support. But I also want to give a shout out to some of the newcomers that I see are watching tonight. So if you're wondering what this show is about, it's just what the title says. It's variety. Every week I have an individual guest or guest to talk about a specific topic. It might be their profession. It might be a hobby. It might be a special interest. It might have some musical entertainment or just some great stories to share with us. So if you haven't already, you might hit that subscribe button. I'm sure you'll see it up there somewhere. And if you like tonight's guest, make sure you don't just watch this show and end it. Hit that like button too. And so if you're in chat right now, the live chat, if you got questions for me or my guest, you can always ask the question and during the live show. But if you're watching this days, weeks, months, even years later, and you still have a question or want to have a comment, make sure you leave a comment down there, and I'll share that with my guest tonight. I have got a wonderful show tonight, and it's also one of my special interests too, and got some great guests too. It's a great topic. For those of you that maybe can relate, and maybe if you can't, but let's describe it to you. It's kind of like this show here. I do this show live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And those of you that have watched this show have seen things go wrong, lights go out, internet connection goes out. But what's the key? The show must go on. That is the same way with community theater. Whether you're the actor on the stage or where you're watching in the audience, no matter if you're on Broadway, off-Broadway, or community theater, the show must go on. No matter what happens, if lines get dropped, if something falls to the floor, the show has to go on. But as an actor, and as my guest tonight can testify, that is a lot easier said than done. So I got my little funny cup now because we got some stuff we're going to share with y'all tonight. So sit back and relax and share your own stories if you have it. And I've got some great guests that I've actually shared the stage with in different productions. So they've got their own stories as well. So let me bring on one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Salida here. And I'd like to introduce you to Bill here. Salida and Bill, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, so let's just start this off. We've had our own individual experiences on the stage where things didn't go as planned. Would that be a safe way to say that?
Absolutely.
That's a kind way of saying it.
You should never share the stage with children or props.
Children are props. Yes, I remember that. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
Animals.
And practical jokers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Theater.
So I'll start this little party out. And Bill and Salida, absolutely, y'all can jump in when you want. But ladies and gentlemen, my story is not so much something I did on stage. It's what somebody did off stage. I was in a murder mystery. It was Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians. And the first victim that got murdered in the play, he's off stage. So you don't see or hear from him the rest of the play, okay? But my character is freaking out because we're stranded on this island. There's no one picking us up. And I keep looking out this door. It's actually off stage. It's supposed to be the sea. I'm looking for a boat. So my line is, there's nothing out here. There's no boat. Well, the character who got killed before me, he knew that was coming up. So he's backstage and he has already dropped trowel. He's got it. He has bent over and he is ready for me off stage. Only I can see this, not the audience. So now the line is, my character, they're asking my character, is there a boat out there? So I open the door and I get the full moon right there. So without breaking character, I shut the door and I said, there's nothing out there, no boat, just a full moon. And I can hear him backstage.
And that's hard when they're laughing off stage, too. Cause
Yeah.
Not breaking character, man.
He catches me during intermission. He goes, you didn't crack up. I said, no, I didn't. But I recovered, didn't I? So that's one of many of my stories. So I'll let Salida, Bill, let y'all chime in.
Well, let me tell you one, because this is a favorite, and I actually received a little bit of a gag award for this one. It was a Christmas play with a series of like little vignettes, and I'm sorry, Bobby. I know you told me, but I cannot remember the name.
Dashing Through the Snow.
There you go. See, I knew you would remember.
And I've got something ready too, but go ahead.
And I played a director, and I need my characters for the play that I'm directing, and they're at an inn. And I find them, and one of them has a box with the ashes of a departed friend, and they need to go take care of this before they can come do the play.
Right. Except
that something happens, and one of the actors drops the ashes all over the floor. And I don't have any time for their nonsense. So my part is to go get a dustbuster and vacuum up the ashes. Except that on most runs of the play, the dustbuster did not work.
No.
I would plug it in, I'd untangle the cord, I would do everything else possible. I would click the switch, nothing would happen. So I felt like it wouldn't, I could just put it on the floor, but that doesn't really work. So instead, I would put it to the floor and go, and the audience would lose it. Like, well, and I'd look, and my coworkers were losing, my people in the show were losing it, because they're like, "What are you even doing?" And I was like, "Well, it would make a noise." And so then I would put it up and go on about my business. And the next night I would go out before curtain and check the plug and check it, and it would work.
Yes, I remember that.
It would work. But when I would pick it up, it would not work. And they would see me from side stage going click, 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 click. And it wouldn't work. Something.
Again.
I did that for most of the shows, and not trying to be funny, but because it wouldn't work. That's why I say never share the stage with a prop, because most of the time it won't even work. So
every time
the show was over, we had a crew
award ceremony
party.
Uh-huh.
And I was presented with the Golden Dustbuster Award. So it's somewhere in this house, but I couldn't find it for the show and tell part of this. But yeah, I had to make dustbuster sounds.
You should have got it for sound effects.
Basically, it was for best sound effects. It was the Golden Dust, and they took one and took all the guts out of it and painted it gold. And best sound effects. It gave me a Golden Dustbuster. It was so funny.
That's awesome.
So to this day, whenever I see a dustbuster like this, I had to bring this just for the show.
Hey, I can make that sound.
You can, yeah. You don't need this.
I don't need one. I can make the sound.
But it was so. I watched you test that thing before show, and Bill, it never failed during the actual play. It would not work.
Somebody was doing something to that dustbuster on purpose, because the first night when it didn't work right and the audience lost it, then they said, "Oh, we're going to set her up every night where this."
So it was a plug. It was a plug-in.
It was a plug-in.
It had a big
somebody was killing
extension cord. So I would plug it in and I would test it, and it would work. And the cord wouldn't be tangled, but one night the cord was ridiculously tangled.
It was.
And when I pulled on it, it unplugged it. I'm like, the show must go on. I'm just gonna keep on going.
Someone was killing power to that plug.
Or something, yeah.
Yes, something.
Definitely something going on there.
That was funny.
Talking about electronics, so one of the performances I was in was called the Foreigner. And it was the very first time at Weatherford College. It was the inaugural season of the repertory company, and we had to. The first performance we did was The Tempest. People complained about the audio, the sound. They just couldn't hear some of the dialogue, and so round 2 we get mic'd up. So, not having mics before, about the middle of the second act, I needed to take a break. Let's just put it that way. So I strolled down the hall to the men's restroom, and proceeded to take a pause. Whereupon I understand the characters on stage were listening to, it's raining. What's going on? And I hear these footsteps pounding down the hall in the back, and I'm like, oh my God. And I put my hand over the mic and I go, your mic's hot. I know it's hot. I'm trying to find the stinking switch and turn it off. But so it became the law. It became the rule. Okay. This is the billboard rule. Whenever you come off stage, you kill your mics. It's just the way it works.
No.
And that was the second one, where a prop kind of, not a prop, that was more electronics, but props.
Yes.
And things you'd have take with you that you don't normally have on you. And the character who was playing in the Tempest, Bobby, it was playing Caliban.
That was James, was his name.
Was James. And one of the scenes is he goes on stage with a cloak and pretends to be a rock. James forgot his cloak.
He forgot the cloak.
So he went out on stage and just huddled. And you could hear that, they're walking around and they're saying, well, oh, where's Caliban? We need to, and people are going, he's right there. You can't see him. He's on stage. He's right there.
He's not covered up at all.
He's not covered up at all. And so that was the other rule, is the James Brownlee rule, is always make sure you have your equipment when you go out on stage. So,
except that sometimes the equipment is on stage and it doesn't work or it breaks.
Either way.
Because I have a history with Christmas plays.
Oh.
Yes, you do.
There was the one, Bobby, again, help me with the name. This was the one where I was on stage through the whole play.
Was that If It's Monday, This Must Be Christmas?
No.
With John Cobb?
No, it's the one about the lady.
Oh, I wasn't in that show, but I know which one you're talking about.
You
Yeah.
know. Mm-hmm. So I do a monologue at the beginning. I come in and I'm on stage, and even off stage I have a mic. So when I'm off stage changing clothes and stuff, I'm still talking. I'm basically on for the whole show.
You are. Mm-hmm. You had the main role. Mm-hmm.
So about midway or so through, I come back on stage and I'm doing another kind of a monologue. And meanwhile, they're supposed to be setting up for a Christmas party. Well, there's this big fella named Hank.
Mm-hmm.
And he now plays a pirate down on one of the boats in Galveston. So he's a lot of fun. But his job is to come out, set the tree, and then go back off stage to come in for the party. So I'm talking and he's setting the tree, and all of a sudden I hear snap.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And I'm not sure what's happened. So I just kind of turn to look back, and I see Hank standing, and he's holding the tree in place, and he's peeking around, and I'm like, he broke the tree. So he had to stand there and be part of the party that was happening because he snapped the tree in half.
I didn't know about that.
And so then when the scene was over, the tree would stay, but he just took it off with him. But the guys my husband and another guy were doing lights and tech for the show, and they said they almost couldn't carry on when they heard the snap. They knew the tree was broken, and they just saw Big Hank just peeking around the tree, grinning. He's just grinning, and I turned around and I was like, okay. I think I just forgot all my lines for the scene because now the tree is broken and I don't know what's happening. So you have to be able to pick up and keep going. And all I knew was don't break character, don't break character. So I turned back around and I'm trying to act like I'm thinking, but meanwhile I'm just laughing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can't. Hank pinking around that tree, that was it for me. But yeah, sometimes the props are there, but they get broke. And that doesn't work well at all.
I was in a play. I'll tell you the name of the play. I won't tell you the character that did this to me, but when we've had it, you and I, all three of us have had it, where you have a prima donna in the cast. Okay, that's all I will say. This particular play happened many years ago. I'll just say the name of the play. It was All My Sons. And there was somebody, not everybody, but there was somebody that thought he or she was it, and was not the director, but could tell everybody else what to do. Well, there's a scene in there where I'm supposed to run on stage. I was supposed to have been running. It was a drama. And I put some little water on me, like I was sweating. I'd been running for miles. It was a family emergency in the play. Well, this person said, "You're putting way too much water on you for sweat." I'm like, really? So, the very next day, there's a restroom in the back of the theater, Salita.
Yes.
I turn on the sink in the men's room, and I'm dousing myself. And my whole costume, my hair.
You soaked yourself.
I jumped in a swimming pool. So I run on stage, and I'm doing my lines, and in the corner of my eye, I can see that this person. They never said that again about I had too much water on. So
don't try to direct me when you're not the director. That does not work well for anybody.
So along those lines, it's she wasn't a prima donna, but she was probably one of the better actresses we had in Man of La Mancha.
Okay.
And Michelle, I think it was Michelle. She played. Who's his love interest?
That was Don Quixote.
Yeah, well, Don Quixote's love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and Greg, that we've mentioned.
The Greg we've talked about, yes.
He's playing an innkeeper, her father or something, and he drops a page and a half of dialogue. I mean, just skips from here to there, and most of it is hers. And
all her lines.
A big chunk of her lines. And she came off stage, and she was, what was she? Probably 5'3",
5'2". She was small but full of dynamite. Yes.
I thought she was going to climb Greg's tree and take him down. I mean, she lit into him something along the lines you were talking about. If you can't learn your lines and you can't do this, then you don't need to be on this plane. You don't need. And I mean, I'm surprised the people in the audience weren't catching this because I'm like,
yes.
Oh my man, goodness gracious! Because I didn't pay attention. I was muleteer and the barber. So
you were the barber.
Yeah, that was the fun. That was the fun one because I'm 6'4", and I think Don Quixote was running about 5'6".
Mm-hmm.
So I'm singing, "I am a little barber and I go my merry way." I keep hopping out on stage, and he shouts me down, and I fall on stage cowering, and I'm thinking, this isn't supposed to be a comedy. That might be a comedy, is it? But, you got to play it straight. But
you have to.
I think that's what Mike was going for. Hey, perfect. I tried to get him to let me rap it because it had a good beat. Oh yeah, I said I could do this. I could do this rap and kind of update it a little bit. He goes, "Oh no, son, no. This is the Man of La Mancha."
Yeah.
But
I was one of my first plays was a college. It was in college, and are y'all familiar with the play "Inherit the Wind"?
Yes.
It's a drama. It's a courtroom drama between like the Bible and evolution. It's a serious play. Well, the first scene is as a town scene. It's not the courtroom. Okay, when the lights go down, we have to move the judge's bench and the benches. It's the courtroom scene now. Well, there was actually a real gavel for the judge to use. But the gavel had been moved right on the edge of the judge's bench. So the scene opens, they're have a witness on the stand, okay? And either somebody moved or somebody bumped. Here comes the gavel. Off the judge's bench onto the stage. It bounces. And nobody moved. I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? And finally, the witness leaves the stage, and she saw what happened. She just politely grabs it, gives it to the judge. Judge says, "Thank you." I'm like, but still, I mean, you see this gavel in the middle of the stage, and no one does anything. I thought maybe the guy playing the bailiff would do something, but no, he's just standing there.
That's exactly who should have done it, was the bailiff. I mean, come on.
It's really funny because the audience does not know when something does not go the way you expect it to.
True.
And sometimes you can even make it like part of the show. For instance, I was doing a show at Azel. It was a comedy written by one of the people there, and part of it is Nurses Foiled Again. Somebody from that group had written it. And I played an old lady whose husband who owned the hospital, but he has passed away.
Okay.
And so she's there kind of checking on her interest, but she has an interest in one of the doctors.
Oh, okay.
But this doctor has an interest in one of the younger nurses. But they're trying
like
to
a soap
not
opera.
let me know that.
Oh,
Well, this
okay.
doctor is played by Jerry Hall. And
Okay, I
Jerry
know who
has
that
no-
is.
Jerry has no hair.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to take a mustache and cut it in half and use it for bushy eyebrows. So we're on stage and it is extremely hot.
Oh no.
Oh,
It's so
no.
hot on the stage. I've got a hat with one of those veils over it, and he's got crazy bushy eyebrows, and we're talking, and I look away, and I look back at him, and he goes, and when he uncovers, there's an eyebrow here. It's stuck to his cheek now. And I went, okay, we're gonna keep going here. And the audience is dying. And then he's going on about, you want to ride in my Jaguar, and the other eyebrow falls. And he goes, now he has an eyebrow here and an eyebrow down here, and they're bushy, and they're stuck to his face. And he's just going on like nothing strange has happened.
And he's
But
talking in
I
a
have
language.
now, once the second one hit, and one was, that's it. I had to cover my face and cover my mouth and put my head down because I'm dying. I'm just dying. And I look up and I walk over and I just peel those eyebrows off of his face. And then I go on with my dialogue because I can't talk to him with eyebrows on his face. I can't do it. So we finally finished the scene, but when we got off stage, he's like, give me the spirit gum. I got to put these back on. I'm like, no, you're not putting those back on. It's too hot out there. The lights are making them fall off your eyebrows and onto your face. But he did. He put them back on anyway. I think they fell off like, I don't know, 5 more times. But Jerry just does, Jerry does what Jerry wants to do. But the eyebrows were unbearable.
But Salita, you got a very good point. Is nobody know unless they've read the plays and they're very familiar with what they are, which would be hard to do if somebody has written a play.
Right.
And so and it was in that repertory in that season, Mike Indy would come in every Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday night and gather the cast together and chew us out. I mean, up one side and down the
royal chewing.
You don't know your lines. You don't know your blocking. You don't know anything. You guys have been at this for weeks and you still don't know anything.
We may have to push the dates out for this play.
But we can't do that because people have already bought their tickets and you guys need to get in shape.
Oh, yeah.
But every Monday, and I finally pulled him aside. So to give you a little background, I was doing this. I'm working at Lockheed as a program director. Okay. So I did this to kind of get rid of my nerves in terms of speaking in front of a lot of people. So that was the biggest lesson I learned is nobody knows what you're going to say. So whatever you're going to say, it's going to be all right.
Right.
And if it's not, you'll answer the questions.
Right.
And so that's the way I took it. And I pulled him aside one time. I said, Mike, why do you rip us a new one every Monday night before performance? And he goes, I just want to make sure you're on your toes.
Yeah, I don't think I would like that.
No.
I'm pretty sure I might have something to say that would not be good for anybody if some director is yelling at me before every play.
I don't think anybody enjoyed it.
No, it was too serious. I'm like, I worked at a bank at the time. I'm like, I needed a release, from all that. So
yeah,
I remember another. Oh, go ahead.
But I was going to say, I tell you what, it cured me of any kind of problems I had. That first night we stepped on stage doing The Tempest, I'm up first. I've got the first lines of the play.
You do.
And my adrenaline hit so hard, my hands went numb. I mean, no kidding. It was like, bam. And I went, whoa, this is awesome.
Well, this isn't so funny, Bill, but do you know something that happened during The Tempest backstage? I didn't know this at the time. You remember, we were the first play to be in that new theater.
Yes.
Okay. How can I say this? It's a family show. Do you know that there was, during the play, actor and an actress that was in the play with us, who was backstage at the time, they christened that theater.
No.
Were you aware of that? Yeah.
I was.
That
not
happened.
aware of that.
I won't say who, but yeah, one of the the main actors, and one of the ladies who had a supporting role. Yeah, they christened the theater.
Well, my goodness gracious.
I think those are people that don't know how to behave in community theater.
Yeah.
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 But I'll say another funny story. It was in that same play, 10 Little Indians. It was another actor, but this is another actor that actually got killed too. So he's backstage. And but I can see him from backstage, and we're talking about the character that just got killed. My character didn't like his character, but we were friends in real life, obviously. But I'm supposed to be just going really down on this character. You know, the character, like, he's a coward, he's no good, blah, 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 he's an idiot, you know. But I can see him backstage, so instead of looking where I'm looking, I look like I'm looking directly at him when he's off stage. Like, he's such an idiot, he's stupid, and he's, you know, and he flips me off from back. And I almost lost it. I was like I had to look away. So I was like I was talking to him. Yeah,
I don't know what is people's deals with trying to get you from off stage, because they know it's open. You can see them. Mm-hmm. So whatever they're doing over there is going to get your attention. And it's sometimes you just want to go, yeah, you wait till I get off the stage. Just wait. You wait
I'll
till
be
I
off
get
the
over
stage
here.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Now, Salita, there was one play that we were supposed to be in, but you had to leave. It was A Haunting We Will Go. Mm-hmm. Okay, Bill, let me kind of explain this. This is kind of a scary / comedy play.
I actually had the lead in that play.
Yeah, that was the lead. Mm-hmm. And my character and Salita's character, we were old schoolmates. We were, had been dating at one time. We kind of developed an interest in each other at the end of the play. Okay, well, unfortunately, Salita had to leave. Well, the lady who was directing the play was a lot older than us at the time. She was like, what, would you say 20, 25 years older than us?
Probably, yeah.
But see, that didn't make sense because now me and her, this other lady, are supposed to be old schoolmates. Well, she looks a lot older than me, and it was not what was said, it was the delivery. The lady who was the makeup artist said, quote, "We're going to have to make Bob look a lot older to make it look like he's the same age as her." She comes back and goes, "You don't have to make him look that much older." I'm like, you know what? I'm out of this.
That was really heartbreaking because there were 2 plays I had to drop out of, just because of home stuff. But yeah, there were 2 of those that I had to drop out of, and that was one. And I was really sad about that because Haunting We Will Go was actually the first time I was cast at Weatherford. The very first.
Oh, was it your first play? It would have been your first play.
Yeah, it would have been my first play. So instead, my first play wound up being Acts of Murder.
That was with Wendell. I remember him. Yes.
And I had to use this accent because I'm supposed to be the fortune teller, and I had to use this accent through the whole show, and everybody, and we got through. And you know how we used to greet people in the entryway as they were leaving.
Yes.
And they could meet us. And this man walks up to me and he says, "Wow, you were really great." And I said, "Thank you so much." And he goes, "Wait, you don't really have an accent?" And I was like, that's when I know I sold it right there.
You did a good job.
I do not, but thank you for saying that. So I've done that, and then I did one. It's the version of Gaslight, only it's not called that.
That's when Curtis was in. That's the one that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Curtis
Okay.
Nelson had the lead in that, and I had to play a British maid.
Yes.
So through the whole play, Melissa and I both had to have this pretty spotless British accent. So I would find myself at home talking like that, trying to make sure that I could hold that accent through the entire show.
The entire play.
But I keep getting
funny.
these parts where I have to have these crazy accents and stuff. And sometimes I can nail it, and sometimes it's not. Like, I think they wanted me to have like a German accent or something to be the fortune teller lady, but instead I think it came off kind of Russian.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is.
It's a Romany,
There you go. There you go.
But you're talking about being in the makeup chair. So,
Oh yeah.
So, so back up a little bit. It's when I talked to you guys. Bob knows this is I got cast as a 70-year-old woman
In The Foreigner.
in The Foreigner, and it was my mistake because I walked in. The director, Chris Indy, was saying, well, we're just not going to have enough women to do all of the stuff that we want to get done. And I, like Goober said, well, let's just step back into the old days and guys can play women. And she handed me a page of dialogue and said, here, you're a 70-year-old woman. Play it like that. And then she thought that was good. And she said, stay right there. Stay right there. And she went and got Mike and brought him in, and I did it for him. She said, do that thing again. And I did it, and he fell down laughing and said, you've got your Betty. Next, he left the room laughing. Anyway, so little did I know that it was going to be about, and God bless him, somebody found the makeup lady from Merle Norman. So every night of the performance,
Debbie. Wasn't that Debbie?
I think so.
Yeah.
But she came in every night of the performance, and for 45 minutes, I'm in the chair, and I'm like, this is too much. This is.
Took 45 minutes to make you look like a 70-year-old woman, did it?
Yeah.
That's actually a compliment for you, I would think.
And he had a curly wig on, too.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, that stinking wig, you're talking about props, so it needed to be pulled down. Well, it kept creeping up, so it started to look like a mushroom top. Every time I go by a mirror, I go, gun, pulling that
Yeah,
thing.
but try wearing a short wig when you have this much hair that you have to figure out.
Oh.
You got to figure out what to do with. Because we had a play where I had to age. It's another Jones Ho Putin. It's the swimming. Help me out.
The Swan Club, something like that.
Swimming
Yeah.
club, the swimming, something about swimming.
Yeah.
Swim club. I can't remember.
It sounds like so. You were close.
It's something about swimming, but I had to age through the show,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I got to the last one and I had the short gray wig, it took us forever to get my hair down on top of my head and flat to be able to get that wig on, because otherwise you're just going to have this big bunch of hair somewhere, But every time, because in one scene I've got it in pigtails, and in one scene I've just got it down or whatever, and it was like I don't know what we're gonna do with it. So we would braid it and lay it as flat as we could, and then put one of those
those ball caps.
wig caps. I put one of those on and just hope that it didn't bulge out like I had a giant
Or go
bubble on my head somewhere. But
I got a couple of stories. Have y'all ever had an actor either did or almost MIA when the play was going on? What I mean by that is it was in the play Don't Drink the Water. It was a play about some American tourists caught behind the Iron Curtain. It's a comedy. And I work in this U.S. embassy. And we're holding them there, and the communists keep trying to get a hold of them. They think they're spies, okay? So the scene is there's some rollerbeds behind the stage, and me and another actor are supposed to bring them on stage, for this couple, and there's supposed to be dialogue, okay? All of a sudden, the lights are going up, and my partner is not there. I'm like, I got to carry these. We've got to do something, and they're heavy. So I'm like, well, maybe they'll show up. They don't show up, and I can't just keep standing. I have to go, and I'm now pushing this thing. I'm thinking, okay, well, it's best that this other person doesn't come out. Other person, I guess, realizes we're up. Comes flying, running on the stage, almost trips. I'm like, now that looked fake. You should have just stayed off stage. Because that looks like to the audience, oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to be on stage. I'm like, no. And then the other one, we almost had to rewrite the script. Literally, you're not supposed to do that. But what happened, it was in the play Our Town. We all know the play Our Town.
Yeah.
The guy that played the song leader, preacher, whatever he was, the curtain's going up. He's not there. And we call him. This is before cell phones now. And we call his house, get an answering machine. And we're like, what do? We can't. How do we do without this character? There's people here in the audience. We can't cancel. So everybody's getting together. Okay, Well, I'll just say, like in my scene, this guy that played the cop, I was like, okay, I'll just say, yeah, I saw so-and-so character, and when I mentioned this to him, he said he thought about this. So, we're trying to get around it. He's supposed to even lead a choir scene, and one of the ladies in the choir will say, you know what I'll say? Well, in so-and-so's absence, I'll lead the choir this time. I'm thinking, we can't keep doing that. That character is essential to the play.
Yeah.
Curtains going up, lights are going up. He's not in the first scene thinking, he comes flying in the back door. He should have known better, but he went out of town to a mall. And, of course, there was construction or an accident on the interstate to get back. And we're helping him in his costume and his makeup and everything. I'm like, so I'll tell anybody who's an actor or actress, if you're in a play, don't go out of town, because something's going to happen.
Not make it back.
So I had 2 MIAs in my history there.
Well, Julie Campbell wound up having to go MIA because she got a spider bite. She was in the hospital.
I didn't hear about that.
The Dixie Swim Club. That's the one I was trying to remember the name.
She had to leave.
No, she didn't leave. She didn't come.
She didn't come.
Cynthia was the director, and she called her and she told her, I'm in the hospital with a brown recluse bite. I'm not going to be there tonight. I might not be there tomorrow night.
She has a lead character. She has a lead character.
There's 4 leads in that show.
Oh no!
So Cynthia took a script and put it inside of a magazine, and in every scene for that play, she had that magazine with her. But we had to help her a lot because she would not always know when to come in.
Yeah.
And so there were a couple of episodes of that play where we were ad-libbing a lot.
You have to.
Because we had to get her through it, somehow with her using a script inside of a magazine. But and I think at the end of both of those shows, Cynthia told the audience kind of what was going on. It's like, it's really not always as bad.
You want a refund?
I always read the script from a magazine. It was funny.
Oh, man.
Bill, you've got, I know a story from you. It's a brief story, but it was in The Tempest. Yep. And someone delivered a line to you, about the herd line.
Oh, God.
So I'll if you don't mind, tell that story, unless you want me to tell it.
Yeah, it was
Shakespeare's The Tempest. Yeah,
Shakespeare's The Tempest, and it was the king, and I was playing Gonzalo, the confessor, father confessor to the king.
Yeah,
and the guy playing the king, I keep bringing him up, but he was so integral to that whole season. So
he was, yeah.
He gave us so many stories, but he's. What was the line? What was the line, Bob? It was "Heard you this." Oh,
yeah. The original line that Shakespeare wrote, ladies and gentlemen, and it's serious. The line is King Alonso says, "Heard you this, Gonzalo?" Okay, and now I'll let you continue from there.
And our good friend Greg, first night really got me because he delivered it as "Heard you this, Gonzalo."
Really, and stressed the heard. Heard you this, Gonzalo?
You're like,
that's so bad.
And
that's so bad. I don't know that I would not have broken character for that particular line. Because I would have. I looked at him like, what is wrong with you?
I was so shocked. It was one of those, what? Huh?
Oh my goodness.
But it was okay, one more. I hate to say it, but one more Greg story.
Keep going. Let's go.
So, again, we go back to The Foreigner.
The Foreigner now. Yep.
Betty has to go off stage to get a glass of tea for one of the characters on the stage, and Greg was stage managing, and it was not hard. This was not a hard play to stage manage because it's just a few people out there. There's not we had some guys doing sound, but just a few things happening. And all he had to do was have a glass of tea ready.
That's it.
And I come backstage, and he goes, "What do you need?" And I went, "What?" I said, "I need a glass of tea." And he reaches over, grabs a glass of water that was sitting there next to the Nestea instant that was sitting there, and he dumps the Nestea into the glass and kind of swirls it around.
No.
And I look at it, and I went, really? And I had no time. I mean, dialogue's running. I'm like, okay, time to go. And I come back out on stage, and I think Cody was the character I'm delivering it to. And I hand it to him, and the only thing I can say is, I'm sorry.
Because when they actually have to take a drink of it, you really are going to be sorry.
He's like, that's good. Thank you, Betty. I'm like, we'll talk later.
Well, I'd like to add one more Greg story, and I can tell this one. Man of La Mancha, the musical. Okay, he has a singing part. Let me rephrase that. He attempted to sing. Okay, it's bad enough. It's bad enough you can't sing, and I will confess I can't sing.
I don't do musicals.
It's worse when you're cast in a play and you do a solo part and you can't sing and you forget the lines to the song. Yes. So how do you recover?
The humming.
Oh.
No.
You remember that, Bill, right?
Oh.
I don't do musicals.
There were so many. There were so many. Okay, one more is, so as part of my costume as Betty, Chris got together with and she did also help me with the costume. She said, "Do you have an old T-shirt?" And I went, "Yeah." So they found an old bra and got one of my T-shirts, and they stuffed it because I was wearing overalls. Okay. Greg was fascinated with my costume and he had to touch the costume. And he's like, "Would you mind?" And I'm like, "It's a costume."
I remember that.
"Oh, please." And I'm like, "Whatever, get it over with." And I'm like, "Oh, man."
How embarrassing.
It was one of those moments where I'm like, I fully appreciate some things that ladies go through.
Oh no, you got a small taste of it. Let me just.
I know. That was enough. Okay, this is a guy that walks around going, "Thank God every day I am a man," because I can get dressed in 10 minutes. It doesn't take. I'm out the door, no big deal. And this was happening. I'm like, oh my God. Oh.
Well, it's just when something that you're not expecting happens on stage, and you have to turn and look at it, and then you have to determine how you're going to react to that.
Yep.
And because the thing is, don't break character, and that's the first thing that pops in my head is don't break character. But the second thing that pops in my head is I can't not laugh at that. That happens so much. Like we've had people literally just fall. They hit a spot on the stage and down they go, and then you're like, "Oh, that's not in the script."
No.
I'm just gonna cruise on over there and help you up. But there's so many things that happen in the course of a show that you have to just, I'm either not gonna react to that or I'm not gonna break character. One of the two things is gonna happen.
So along those lines, fortunately, I go back again one more time to the Tempest, not the Tempest, the Foreigner.
Foreigner
is, so Betty's got a line. She's kind of this old country girl from Louisiana, and this guy is pretending to be from a foreign country because he's wanted by the law, and so he talks about how he's been teaching Betty some of his language. And he comes up with, well, how do you say this? And the line is, well, dooley dooley. And I'm like, okay, well, after this was the third performance, I'm in there and I just go up. I mean, he says the line and I'm looking at him and I'm going, I know I'm supposed to say something, but I cannot remember what it is. And the clock's ticking and I'm going, okay, come on, it's in there, bring it up, come on. So about 30 seconds goes by. It felt like 2 hours. It's probably only about 10 seconds go by and I finally go, dooley dooley. Audience cracks up. And from then on, I wished I would have played it that way. I mean, it was, I said, well, why didn't I do this before? because it's supposed to be a funny line. But yeah,
Yeah, when other people forget their lines, as I
Oh.
was doing a play with we were talking about Dan McLean, but he played an older gentleman and I was like his sister or something. And I was trying to remind him to take his pills and he had to do all this other stuff. And he has a line in there and I look at him and he says nothing. Not a word.
No.
And I look at him like, okay. And so I say my next line, thinking I'm going to get him back on track. He's got deer in the headlights. He has no idea where we are in the show.
No. Oh, no.
And so I'm like, okay, well, this is the part of the show where I'm just going to have to ad lib until the next characters that are supposed to show up on stage get here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just going on about his medicine and he's supposed to do all this. And why are you wearing overalls? And it just was a whole thing. But when we got backstage, he's like, I don't know what happened. I said, yeah, me either, but can we make sure that doesn't happen again? Because I'm not sure I can come up with all that same stuff again.
Well, you talk about breaking character, I almost broke character one time. I mean, the guy that I was on stage with almost did too. It was Curtis Salita.
Oh, Curtis is the best.
And we were doing another Agatha Christie. Are y'all familiar with The Mousetrap?
Yeah.
It's a British couple that's running a bed and breakfast and all these. Of course, there's a murderer loose. You know, the usual Agatha Christie storyline. Okay, there's a murder. One of the guests is murdered, and I am the husband. Me and my wife, we own this bed and breakfast. Okay, one of the guests, which is Curtis's character, he thinks I'm the murderer. Okay, I think he's the murderer, and not only that, I accuse him of coming on to my wife. So there's a big confrontation, and it's serious. We are just at each other. We are yelling at each other. You know, line. It's quick. But then my line to him is, stay away from my wife. She's not going to be the next victim. And then I shove him down into the couch. Okay? So I go through that. And I say, you know what? Stay away from my wife. She's not going to be the next victim. I shove him in the couch. I shoved him a little bit too hard.
Oh, no.
The couch goes back a little bit. Doesn't tump over. But there's a long table with glassware on it.
No.
Couch hits the table.
Oh.
Table goes over. Glass. Crash!
Oh, no.
He's supposed to get back up, and we're supposed to go at it again. And we're giving the line, but I know good and well we were going, yeah, you're the murderer. No, you're the murderer.
No.
Yeah, I don't trust you. I don't trust you either. I mean, and the audience is kind of teetering, but I'm like, Bob, stay in character. And the lady playing my wife did it without a hitch. She went backstage where there really was a broom and a dustpan. And she's actually sweeping it up like it's part of the show. And when she's like looking at my character goes, Giles, see what you did, you know? And you'll think, that's perfect. The audience might think that was part of it,
And that's it too, isn't it? That's when the audience does not know. They don't know you've missed your line. They don't know that sweeping up that glass wasn't in the play. Heck, they probably don't even know that his eyebrows didn't belong on his face. I mean, who knows what they think at that point? All I know is they were dying, and after the show, they were saying, "You guys are so funny." And I think I've only ever done 2 dramas because I just enjoy the comedy so much.
I love comedy a lot better.
Every Jones Hope Wooten that's been written, I think
you have absolutely.
Yeah, except the latest one. I didn't make that one, but I think I've done them all.
But talking about the audience not knowing, so having been dressed up as this 70-year-old woman for a few performances, my little brother decides to bring my 70-something-year-old parents to the performance, and I'm on stage and I'm performing, and they're 3 rows out, and I hear my dad go, "Well, hell, I thought you said Bill was in this play." And my little brother looks at my dad and goes, "Well, Dad, he's been on stage for 30 minutes. And it's one of those double take moments. He goes, "Oh." That's all he
You
said.
had a good makeup artist, apparently.
I tell you what, she did an amazing job. And but it was one of those moments where you're like, okay, all right, this is working. This is doing all right.
Well, I've been out of theater for a little while I was
Me
finishing my
too.
degree, and I graduated in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank
Congratulations.
you. So I plan to be going back very soon. I've been in touch with both Hazel and Weatherford and said, hey, send me those audition notices because I'm ready to come back. So, Bobby, maybe I'll have some more stories for you before too long.
Right, and like I said, I've been doing my webcast, but if something comes up, I'll see if I can get some rehearsals in. We got some questions from the audience. I think this is meant for me, but I'll do it for you two, Sleeta, and you two, Bill. Radio Vault's asking me if I talked in an English accent. Yes, in the Mousetrap, I did have to talk in a British accent because it did take place near London. So yes, I had to talk like this, but I can't do it now.
But is yours as good as mine when I had to be a maid and talk in the British accent for the entire show?
Well done, lass. Excellent.
That is awesome. And then let's see, there's someone sharing a story with us. I was in Romeo and Juliet school play. I had my lines taped all over the set. I missed cue and read wrong line twice.
There have been more people that have done that because you may have them taped somewhere, but you don't know where on the page you are.
Yeah.
So you may read the complete wrong line and throw everybody off.
Oh, and that reminds me. Now, Bill, this is a different version of The Foreigner. This is The Foreigner that was in the other theater, the one that me and Sleeta read. Now, I was not in this play, but I heard, this is the story I got, Sleeta. Maybe you heard this, but when they were doing the comedy of The Foreigner, the lady, it was actually a lady this time playing Betty. They actually got a lady this time.
Real lady, yeah.
A real lady. But for some reason, she couldn't or wouldn't memorize her lines. She had the script in different areas on the set, like in a plate, on the wall. And so she would literally go to a certain place and she'd be just reading it. One of the actors who played Ellard in the play got fed up with that. He rearranged the set one night.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
He rearranged the set on purpose. He was getting tired. I'm like,
but I do remember that because the script was like taped to the coffee table.
Yes, I did.
In different places on the set. Yeah. Yeah.
And I could see the character, whoever they cast for Ellard, doing that.
Yeah.
That would be an Ellard thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but boy, if you're the one who needs that script boost, you are hosed.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how that turned out. I heard that she tripped, but I guess he was teaching her a lesson. I don't know if it happened or not.
At the expense of an audience, I'm sure.
So you were talking about being out of the theater for a while. I only did that one summer. I came back for the next year, but my work picked up and I was traveling internationally a lot, so I just couldn't make it, and then my career took off and I just didn't get to
Bill,
come
there's
back.
no time like the present.
Well, but then you got to find it. I don't know where to find the audition.
Weatherford.
I could send you
Square or Azel popcorn players. You can email them and ask to be put on the audition list.
or Granbury Opera.
Oh, I didn't think about it. Now Granbury's quite a drive though.
Are they okay?
But
I live in
they
Benbrook,
do
so
some good stuff there too.
it's almost going to be the same no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been 12 years since I've been in a play. It's actually been a dozen years. Last play I did was Dashing Through the Snow.
Well, you need to get back in there too.
now that wasn't a British accent.
No, that was my real Texas girl accent's what that was. Oh, like heard, only not. Yeah.
Heard you this?
I'll say this real quick. That I just saw another version of The Tempest just 3 weeks ago, and that line came up with different actors, but the actor playing it said it like it's supposed to be. Heard you this, Gonzalo? And I'm just about to laugh because I remember how it was said before.
I mean, stop. That's not how that goes.
I can't do it like this guy did it. Bill, you can back me up. Heard you this, Gonzalo?
He sounded like a donkey braying. I mean, seriously, that's kind of how he delivered a lot of his lines.
And did he do it every show like that?
Pretty much.
Oh.
I mean, that's kind of how he sang too.
No, he didn't sing like that. He went.
I only ever had one play where I had to sing, and it was the opening act of Always a Bridesmaid, and I played the mom.
Wow.
and I had to sing. I'm ironing something, and I'm singing so badly off key that you can kind of hear the audience going, "Ooh,
Oh,
make her stop." So I don't sing on stage. This girl
get that
does
girl a
not.
bucket. You
This
got to
girl
carry
does
that
not sing
thing
on
with.
stage.
There was another play that I was in. It was Arsenic and Old Lace. I think I told you that story before, but I don't think I said it for the show. In Arsenic and Old Lace, most everybody knows that play. It's a comedy, but it's about these two little old ladies that are murdering these old lonely men, you know.
Yep.
But this is the play is starting up. So they're in there, they're cleaning the kitchen, and I'm in there having a conversation. But as the scene goes on, the lady playing my fiance comes in. We're supposed to have a conversation, but the ladies playing my aunts are not supposed to be privy to the conversation. They're supposed to leave, okay? So I'm sitting on the couch with my lady playing my fiance, and you know how just something doesn't seem right. And so finally, I ad-lib, and I tell the lady playing my fiance, hold on for a second, honey. I've got something in the car. It's a surprise. Stay right here. She's playing along. Okay. Right off stage is the script girl. I'm going around to her, where are we? I don't know what's going on. And the script girl's upset too. She goes, the ladies playing your aunts are not leaving the stage. They can't be on stage while you and her, this other lady, are having this conversation. What I didn't know is while I'm having a conversation with the script girl, the ladies playing my aunts realize, oh, we're not supposed to be here. They walk off stage, leaving the poor girl playing my fiance, sitting on a couch, looking at the audience, no dialogue, nothing. And I was like, I felt so bad for her.
It's like, there you dead air.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a plug in here. So my
Do it.
granddaughters have been in the last 4 Mary Martin musicals.
Really? All right.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you guys haven't seen them, they are awesome performance. They do great production. The kids do awesome performances. It's been a real pleasure watching them do it. And Peter Pan, they did this last spring.
Oh, wow.
They brought back in the guys that do the high wire stuff from New York to wire them up, and
Wow.
the kids
Wow.
are flying everywhere. I mean, it was well done. It was well
It
done.
is fun
It was
to watch your kids and grandkids be on the stage.
It
Oh,
is.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're like, I could do that.
Let me help you. I can help you with that.
Exactly.
They're like, no, I'm good. I got
Yeah,
this.
we're good. Grandpa, go away. Go on.
Well, I got a question for each of y'all, and I'll go first with this question. Think about, of all the plays you've done, okay, which one, in your personal opinion, was your favorite time on stage? What was your favorite play or favorite character? I'll go first. Mine, I've got so many, but I loved the play called You Can't Take It With You. There was a movie made out of it, but I loved the play. What was that name? Oh, Hart. I think the last name was Hart. I can't remember the author's name, but it was called You Can't Take It With You. I played Mr. Kirby. He's a rich, snobby, don't look at me, look down at everybody. But it's a comedy, but there's a lesson learned in it. When you die, you can't take it with you. And he was so obsessed with his riches, and he was even trying to break up his son, and he didn't think his fiance was good enough. But there's a lesson learned. But there was so much comedy and slapstick in it, and I thought we had the perfect cast. Just about everybody got along. Nothing went wrong. There was no politics. I mean, so You Can't Take It With You always it sticks out in my mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, check out that play. So, Bill, Selena, y'all go ahead. Your favorite play, favorite character, whatever.
Probably Dixie Swim Club. I played Bernadette.
Uh-huh.
I had to be really sassy and have an attitude, and at the end, I was just this crotchety old woman. But it's so much about friendships, and the people that had the leads with me were genuinely friends of mine, and so it was really kind of fun to almost live a whole nother lifetime with these people as my best friends, to kind of see what that would have been like. And I had a couple of really good long monologues where I kind of got to really express emotion and stuff like that. And so I think for me, Dixie Swim Club was probably my favorite.
Cool. That was a good show. Okay, Bill?
I haven't. Well, it's been so long since I've done anything, but it. I was going to say Betty, but that was just fun to play. I mean, apart from all the other stuff, nothing like it's almost like a Christmas tuna kind of thing.
Yep.
You could have done tuna shows.
Greater tuna. Oh yeah, you could have. Uh-huh.
And well, I don't know with this, but yeah, shaving 3 times a day. That got to be a pain. But anyway, I actually kind of like doing the barber in
the Man of La Mancha.
In Man of La Mancha, it's a small part. Come out, do your little play, sing your little song, and then you're kind of moving. You kind of get to move the story along. You know what I mean? You're helping him get his equipment, and you're not a whole lot of emotion, but it's fun. It's fun, but yeah, Betty was good. Betty was fun.
That's awesome.
That was fun. And prior to that, I'd always been cast as the king or the judge. I don't understand.
I can see a little typecasting going on there.
Yes.
Well, for a while, now that you bring that up, Bill, in the theater that I was at, Salita knows this too. For some reason, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but I kept getting cast as police officers, law enforcement. I was always the cop. I was the detective. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't mind being a cop or detective, but not every play.
Right.
Weren't you the cop in the Foreigner?
No, I was the bad guy in the Foreigner. I got my girlfriend pregnant, and I was trying to get you, Betty, thrown off of your house, and I was the villain in that play.
That's right. You were the villain. Which we're all looking at you going, really? No. Come on.
Everybody says that. I even asked the people at the theater that Salita and I were at, and I asked several directors, I want to play the villain. I mean, I want to be the unlikable character. And somebody said, I can't remember which, they said, Bob, you look just too nice to be the bad guy. And I'm like, I don't know how to take that.
Face.
Maybe that's a compliment. I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Hey.
Well, tell you what, Salita, Bill, maybe we can get all back in the theater. We can all be in the same play, and maybe we can be on Radio City Music Hall. How about that?
Hey, I'm down with that.
Bill?
That could be all right.
We won't make you play a 70-year-old woman this time.
No, I don't know if I can.
I got that one.
That high. I don't know. I've seen him. I've seen him in person. That kicking. I don't know.
Yeah, the Radio Vault says you are typecast, Bob. Yep, I am. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I think Salita and Bill can back me up on this. Those of you that are watching this, if you have never been in community theater or just interested, check out wherever you're living at. It is a lot of fun. You can make a lot of friends. And, don't worry about the perfect performance. It's just not going to happen.
And you don't have to be on stage. They need people to do backstage. They need people to do costumes, makeup, lights, sound. They need all those people.
Yep.
Yes.
So check it out. I mean, me and Bill and Salita, you've heard our stories tonight, and there's a lot more we could have told, but stay tuned, and maybe we can all be in a play again. Salita, Bill, I appreciate y'all being on. This has been a very, very enjoyable show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a good time.
Y'all have a good night.
Hasta luego.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all from me tonight. 1 hour seems to go by too fast on this show. But don't worry. Remember, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be here with another guest and another interesting topic. So I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. And if you've got a comment or a question for either Bill or Salita or me about tonight's show, about community theater, Bloopers, make sure you leave a comment, and I'll make sure that we all see it. So that's going to be for me tonight. I will see y'all next week, and y'all have a great evening. Good night, everybody.